Now, the Democrats are hoping that their political fortunes will rebound in the midterms and that they can say happy days are here again.
Yes.
And they're teeing off on the big, beautiful bill and on the deportations and so forth. Are, in fact, the Democrats overconfident?
What is your sense of their level of confidence?
I think that there's some of them are quite bullish about taking over the House, for example, in the midterms.
Okay.
It's one of our friends that I can't mention declared that it will happen.
You've mentioned everybody else on this.
100%. Our friend Sidney Blumenthal.
Oh, I see.
Very confident.
I see.
So are the Democrats?
It's 700%.
And they're hoping that the provisions in the bill, throwing people off Medicare and so forth, which of course doesn't happen until after the election.
Most of it, yeah.
They're hoping that all of
Medicaid,
this will be blamed on the Republicans. However, is that really the case?
I'll say two things.
I say this because abortion was supposed to be the big issue, and it really didn't have a significant
effect.
Yes,
that's what I would flag. I would say, I'm wondering if we are at a point where the districts are actually so carved up, and that there's actually far less movement. These major swings that I think a lot of people who've been watching politics for a lot longer than me are used to. So, 1994, 06, 2010, these massive, seemingly, midterm rebukes, I think might be going by the wayside, possibly, because that really was the 22 story, which is everybody thought that was a disaster for the Republicans and a huge victory for Biden. And it was impressive for Biden. But the Republicans won the popular vote and only narrowly won the House, ask Kevin McCarthy, and were not able to take the Senate. And something similar could happen in 2026. And then that would be a poor harbinger for 2028 in theory, because the Republicans did way better after massively underperforming in 22. That all being said, I do think there is a liability. The Medicaid thing I think is important and was an unforced error by the Republicans. But the real problem, in my view, is gifting back some of that anti-establishment energy that Trump had in 2024. The frankly outlaw badass energy that got a lot of voters off the sidelines. For Trump, I think you have already seen some fraying in the coalition. Elon Musk, say what you will, I know his approval is also in the gutter. Elon Musk was key. The podcast sphere, the Rogans, etc., all of them have expressed exasperation with the Iran move and other related maneuvers. And so it's a little too soon to tell. It's unclear how a major protest movement could cut, right? Would it even help the Democrats? Would that remind people of 2020 and help the Republicans? But, I don't think that the hard left, younger millennial candidate wins in New York City if there's not something brewing in the country.
That's what I've been wondering about, if there will be an analog to the Trump movement on the left.
Yeah.
Because there's no logical reason that there shouldn't be. Like, for example, they're all declaring that Mamdani should apologize, and he's not. That's very Trumpian.
It is.
Trump always, just regardless of the contents, tactically, his instinct was you never apologize. Right. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong.
Right. I think what's critical for the potential revival fortunes of the progressive left in the country is that they actually have moved significantly away from their 2020 the woke thing has been beaten to death, and I don't think there's a real appetite for a return to that in the country. And indeed, for all of the old posts from 5 years ago that Mamdani, circulated, and I think a lot of them, frankly, are abhorrent, he also hasn't gone out of his way to defend those posts. And I think, even Bernie Sanders is messaging on the wars and on income inequality in a way that's pretty different from the Bernie Sanders of, let's say, the late 2010s, maybe 2020, which was a far more identity-focused socialism.
Well, Curt, I know you were recently on the podcast Know Your Enemy. I don't know if you'll be addressing DSA conferences to give them tactical pointers as you're doing now. But I want to thank you for coming on Abraham TV, and we'll have to do this again.
Many thanks.